Hey, Real Green Ninja here. Today we're going to talk about how to set up snow removal as well as how to use it with your customers. So let's begin. The first thing we're going to need to do is actually create the service for snow removal. Now, I do have another video that talks about setting up snow removal as a non-service here, but the non-service here is kind of a more advanced feature, and I thought, you know what, maybe I should do it how we would normally do it for most people that would be using our software. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Data, Product Parameters, and then Services, Program Specials, and then of course we're going to go to Services. Now, snow removal is a special job that you do the same thing over and over and over again, just like lawn mowing, where you're going out and mowing the exact same area of the lawn and stuff like that. So again, you're going out there, you're pushing the snow, you might be putting down salt or whatever, but again, it's still a special job that you repeat. Hence, that's what we call a repeating special. So when you want to create a new repeating special, what you're going to do is you're going to hit New up here at the top. I'm going to put in your service code, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it SR for snow removal, and then I'm going to call it snow removal. Okay. Now the thing about snow removal is you usually don't leave an invoice at the time of the visit. Normally you send them out like a monthly invoice or anything or something like that, so you wouldn't necessarily need anything under invoice description, invoice message, or abbreviated message. Now the tech note is possible you may have something in there. Again, this would be a note that would appear on every single driver's report or worksheet that you print out. Again, it's up to you to decide if you want to add a tech note. But we do have to mark it as a special job down here. And, I got to mark it as, type up here, special job. There we go. So again, like I said, you do got to make it special up there. But we're going to mark it as a special job down here. And you'll notice this area over here opens up. All right. Now, this is the criteria for doing a special job and then also setting up the repeats for a special job. Now, again, if you want to include product usage, you can include product usage. If you have to charge tax, you set tax, as well as what information you're allowed to enter when you're posting production. Now, down here, where it has like the date sold, source size, and stuff, that is required information. Again, depending on how you price your snow removal, a lot of companies will do manual pricing. They'll say, okay, we're going to charge $25 a push. Or, you might do like a contract where you say, well, you're going to pay us $100 a month, regardless of whether or not we go out. Or if we go out 50 times, it's still going to be $100. So if you really want to, you could do it as a price chart service and set it up by size. But again, most people tend not to. Most people tend to put the manual price in there. Under pricing, then, you're going to actually set it to manual, or you can even set it to man-hour. Now, keep in mind, if you do put it in man-hour, it's going to keep changing that man-hour every time you do the push. So like I said, it's a little bit cumbersome. Again, most people tend to stick with manual. And then we don't have to worry about price tables or anything like that. And again, when you add the job to the customer, you'd put in the price. Over here, don't print invoice if previous is not done. Again, this is one that you would probably not check simply because we're not going to be building out the schedule ahead of time. We'll actually build out that repeating schedule as we go along. And again, I'll demonstrate it when I get to that point. Under automatic renewal, again, this is something you decide if you want to renew it from season to season. If you do, you just check mark automatic renew, and then that way it'll get renewed when you do your renewals. Down here, all these other options, again, some of these, you can turn on and off, whether or not you want it available on the internet. Most people, it's going to be a core service, but the default billing type is, again, probably going to be set to statement only, because statement only is what allows you to do what's called a monthly invoice. That's where you're sending them one bill a month instead of leaving a bill every time you visit. Now, as far as the max per year is concerned, you know your area better than me. I don't know if you on average do maybe 50 pushes, and maybe you might want to put your max per year of 75, because you might possibly do 75 if it's a really bad winter. Or I don't know if you on average do 100 pushes, and maybe you might want to put 200. Again, the max per year is just there so that way, once you hit that last push, you can then add the job again and charge them extra if it was like a installment type of job or something. Or again, if you only normally do 50 pushes before you start charging additional rates. Like I said, normally you're going to put probably something big like $999. Simply because you can do up to $999 or whatever. For the type, again, we're going to mark it as a special job. Again, because we're not necessarily worried about size, we don't have to worry about putting a unit of measure. Now, the one thing is, though, is down here in the day, there's the repeating schedule parameters. We're going to go ahead and put it in as 1 day, and then we're going to make it available for any day. Again, because if it snows on Sunday, you're probably going to go out there on Sunday and do the snow removal. If it's on Monday, you do Monday, Tuesday, and so on and so forth. And again, even though if you go out a couple times, we'll talk a little bit about what to do if you go out with a couple pushes, a couple different strategies you might use. Now, the end on date is important for snow removal simply because when you set up snow removal, you need to set it up for the next service year. So if I were to set up snow removal today at September 30th, 2015, I would actually add the snow removal to the 2016 season. Again, when we talk about customers, I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to say we're not going to do any snow removal after April 1st, 2016. Keep in mind, you obviously know your area better than me, and you know what date would be a good end-on date. Because again, anything, or once it hits that date, it was not going to schedule out any more services. All right, once you have all your information in there, you're going to go ahead and hit save, and now we have the job in the system. When you want to add it to a customer, like many other jobs, you're just going to go to the customer screen. Oh, that guy's canceled out. There we go. And hit the little add special job. And then we're going to select our snow removal. All right, there we go. All right, now you'll notice we have only the one snow removal listed, and that's what we want. Because, again, we're going to have the system build out the schedule as we go along. Even if you do 2 or 3 pushes in a single day, it will still keep building out that schedule. And, again, we'll come back here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But you see there's that end-on date, there's our schedule parameters, and, again, there's our information. And let's say this job is going to be $50 a push. So we're going to put in $50. As I mentioned before, you can put in product information, stuff like that. There are people that have set up as a repeating special work order. It's very, very cumbersome. I don't really recommend that. If you want to do, you can actually set up an additional service like salting or something, and then do keep track of stuff separately through there, and just do an association when you're pulling your invoices. And if you don't know about associations, there's a video about it. So, like I was saying, so again, we have all this stuff in here. We're going to go ahead and hit save. Now we have this job on the customer. But you'll notice here, I forgot to change it to 2016. So what's going to happen is it's going to keep scheduling out, and then once it hits December 31st of 2015, or not that it would, because again it's going to hit December 31st first, hit the end on date, or it hits the max per year, in this case of 99999. Like I said, though, is we want to make sure it's set for the next season. So I'm going to come back in here, go into edit mode, and change it to 2016 just by highlighting it and then changing the 5 to a 6. The only way you can do that is if you have not posted production on any of them first. So if you made a mistake and you accidentally set it for 2015 and started pulling it for 2015 and stuff like that, you may need to either A, make sure on December 31st you add this job to everyone new in 2016, or cancel out this one and then add a one for 2016. So like I said, you do want the service year here to be the next service year. I call it the graduation rule. I started my senior year in 1992. I graduated in 93. My graduation year is 93. Same concept. All right. So once you have the job and the customer, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and pull the work. Now I'm going to pause it here because I want to add this job to a bunch of customers, and once I've added them, I'll come back here. So I'll see you in a moment. And we're back. Like I said, I just need to take a short break there so I can add the job to a couple customers, and then that way I can pull them up on the invoice screen. So now that we've created that repeating special, now that we've added to customers, now we can actually start pulling the work. So when we're ready to pull the work, we're just going to hit this invoices button here. We're going to select our snow removal. We're probably either going to do a driver's report or a worksheet. And again, I'll show you a preview of what both of those would look like. You're going to do days since last service of 0. This is, again, the one exception with special jobs you normally pull by schedule date. This one we're going to do days since last service 0 because, again, we want to make sure we grab that next snow removal that's in line. You set the rest of the criteria. You set your company branch if you have multiple branches. You can set your routes. You can do a specific account number. Again, you can set your rest of your criteria here. But once you have all your criteria set, you're going to get invoices. And there's my 18 customers that have that snow removal service. Now what I'm going to do is if you have routing, you can hit this globe. If you don't, then you're going to have to actually figure out the sequence numbers and add all this stuff. So again, if you don't have routing, I definitely recommend it. And I'm not part of sales trying to sell it to you. I'm just saying it's going to make your life a heck of a lot easier if you have it. So we're going to go ahead and hit this globe, which will take us into Routing Assistant. Once we're in Routing Assistant, it's going to put the push pins of those stops on this map. So again, you can divide it up. Maybe you're going to grab only part of the city. Maybe you're grabbing a particular neighborhood that night. Again, you could, throw all the stops on the map, grab that particular group that you want for that day, or for that particular truck, print out that list, and then pull the stops, grab the next group for the next truck, and so on and so forth. So let's say we're going to have one truck out here. It's going to hit these outlying areas. Again, maybe there might be a whole bunch more push pins. We're going to go through, select those stops. Again, it's going to throw those customers here on the list. And again, this is junk data, so I have actually duplicate accounts in the system. That's why you see two of them, the same address there. But like I was saying is, you're going to put your people on the list there. And then you can, if you want to optimize stops, that is up to you. You may actually, for snow removal, have a list of priorities, in that you might do your commercial customers before you do your residential, or you may pay higher paying customers before you do your other customers. So again, it's up to you to decide how you want to shuffle these around. Again, you can optimize stops, or you can even grab person and maybe put them to the top and make them the first on the list. But once you got the order of stops you want and everything, then you're going to go ahead and close it. If you did shuffle people around, it will tell you that they're not optimized. Again, I do want Ellie to be first, so I'm going to say no. Now, it's going to put those people in that list in that order, so I can turn around and print out my drives report or worksheet. So let's go ahead and preview what the drives report and worksheet would look like for just those 3 customers. Do a preview here. You notice it's going to show you the name of the customer, it's going to show the address information as well as the stop information. Now, the driver's report is going to show what the charge and production value and how it's being charged. In this case, it's going to be like a monthly invoice, as well as what the customer's current balance is. You may not want your drivers to see that. So that way, you might actually, for them, generate a worksheet. Again, you can do one or the other. I probably wouldn't do both of them, though. But like I said, you would generate the worksheet, and here again is the same information, but you'll notice there is no value information. All right, so let's go ahead and close this out here. So like I said, once you got your list of stops, once you have your worksheet or driver's report, then you're going to print it. Now I'm going to do what's called a fake print. So we're going to go ahead and hit the print option right there. I'm going to assign it to whatever driver would be doing the work, as well as what the assignment date is. Again, you probably don't have to worry too much about the assignment date because you're probably doing it today. So we're going to go ahead and click OK there. It's going to ask us where we want to print it out to. I'm going to print it out to a Microsoft XPS document. Again, I'm doing a fake print because I don't want to waste my paper and ink. You would normally send it out to your normal printer. So by doing it as a Microsoft XPS document, it's going to ask me where I want to save it, and it's also what I want to call it. I'm just going to go ahead and call it Junk Snow Removal Worksheet. Okay, so again, normally you would send it out to your printer. I'm going to go ahead and save it to my desktop. We hit save there. Now, it's going to ask me if I want to mark services printed and sign invoice number, mark services printed, or don't mark services and printed. You will want to mark those services as printed. Okay, not assign invoice and do not mark as printed. So you're going to want to choose that middle option. Hit OK. Now it's going to remove those 3 from the list because now that work has been printed. So what we can do is we can hit all. Go to the globe again, grab the next group of people. So again, maybe the next truck is going to be doing this section of people. So again, we're going to grab them, close the screen. Again, you can optimize and all that stuff. Here's my list of people that are checkmarked that I chose. Again, you'd print, select a driver. So maybe this time it's actually going to be Allie Carson. And again, click OK. It's going to ask you, again, where you want to send a printer. I'm going to do it as a Microsoft XPS document. And again, I'm going to call this one Junk Snow Removal Worksheet 2. Okay, so again, I'm just doing that just to save myself ink. Again, mark services printed, click OK, remove those from the list, click all, grab the next group of people, wash, rinse, and repeat until you got all your people that you want to do snow removal for that day. Now, once everything's all printed out and everything, you're going to hand that report to your driver. The driver is going to go out and do the snow removal. Now, as far as if you have to go out multiple times, there's a couple different strategies. The one that most people use is they'll go out and they'll put hash marks to indicate how many times they visited that property for the push. So again, if they go out there 3 times, they'll do 3 hash marks, and they know they have to post production on it 3 times because they did 3 pushes. There are some companies out there, again, it's a little bit more cumbersome. They'll go out, do the first push, they'll come back to the office, post production on it, go back out, pull the work just like you would normally, go back out, come back to the office, post-production. Again, that's more cumbersome. Most people just, once they're out on the truck, they're pretty much driving that truck around until the end of the day, and then they're going to come back to the office, and then post-production. All right, now, the driver's gone out, they've done the work, now you want to post-production on it. There's 2 ways of posting-production. The first one is actually using that worksheet. The only thing is, though, you can only post-production 1 time using that worksheet, because, again, it just so happens that that worksheet is for that one job. So another strategy you can use is you can use a utility called where is it again? Quick production entry. You do have to be careful because you could possibly do some serious damage if you're not careful. But again, this will make life so much easier if you become proficient at it. So we're going to go ahead and open up quick production entry. And then as with anything I'm not quite sure how it was done, I'm going to go ahead and hit none there just to make sure I don't have anything. Hit all there. And then, you'll see the schedule date. But again, we're going to be focusing on the print date. So I want to make sure that I put in today's date as the print date. Now, we're going to pull up one of those customers we printed out. So give me a second here. Where did I save that worksheet? There it is. Oh, darn you, Windows 10. Why you are the bane of my existence. All right, so we got a customer number here. Let's see here. 31752. All right, so let's go ahead and close this. There we go. 31752. 31752. There we go. All right, so now we're going to pull up this customer. We're going to pull up that snow removal job. You'll see it is in that $ status. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say I want my printed invoice for $ status, but I'm going to uncheck the Y status. Again, because I want to pull those ones that have been printed. I will explain how to pull the rest of them as it builds out, but like I said, right now we're going to go ahead and do $, and then we're going to do the print date of today. We're going to scroll down. We're going to choose our job here. Let's go ahead. There it is. So again, there's our snow removal, the SR service. This one I did do a video about the non-service here. Again, it's a little bit more advanced. We're just sticking with the regular snow removal. All right, so again, what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our snow removal here, and then once we pull it up, we're going to, again, set our criteria. We're going to hit Get Invoices. Oh, nothing showed up. Let me see if I can figure out why. Let's go to Show List. Oh, you know what? I just said... schedule dates. Love the software, but sometimes it can drive you nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and put the schedule date of today, because that was the assignment date, as well as the schedule date. So there we go. Okay, so there's those people that we actually printed out. Again, you got to be careful with this because remember, we did 2 different printouts, and we want to make sure we're only grabbing the people that were actually done already when the first guy comes in, and then we'll do the other people for the second one. So like I was saying, is you're going to go through and make sure you have check or uncheck the ones that you actually did the pushes on. So we're going to go through here, and let's say these 3 people were on the first batch that we printed out. We're going to select those. We're going to put in the employee that did the work here. We're also going to put in the date, and then we're going to tell it to build the journal. Once we hit build a journal, it's going to ask if you want to open a production entry screen. There it is. You'll see it's a lot quicker than going through and putting in those invoice numbers or hitting the barcodes on that driver's reporter worksheet. Again, this is for the first push. Now, when we take a look at this customer screen, again, we're going to F5 or change tabs or refresh. You'll see that it still only has that one. So now, once we make sure that everything looks good, we're going to hit the post button. Again, you can print, preview, or export the journal. Again, it's up to you if you want to do that. This is what the preview would look like. But I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel, and then you say, yes, I'm posting the work is being done. Once you post the work is being done, again, we're going to push F5 or change close and reopen the window to refresh. Oh, did I grab the wrong person? I think I grabbed the wrong person there. Oh, okay, give me 1 second here. Again, as always with these videos, they are on the fly. And I've already done 17 minutes on this, and I don't want to start all over again. So I am going to go ahead and do that quick production entry again and make sure I grab that customer. There we go. Again, everything is here. Get invoices and make sure I definitely get that customer. There we are. Okay, now we're going to build journal. Yes. Okay, so again, there's that customer. I'm do it right this time. Again, we're going to post. Again, print, preview, or export. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel and then post it. Now we come to this customer. We push F5 on our keyboard, or again, we close and reopen the window. Again, normally you wouldn't be doing this. You'd be actually just posting production entry. You wouldn't be worrying about the job. But you'll now notice it's scheduled the next one out. Okay, so now what we can do is for the second push, if you have to do more than one, now we can go to activity, and then we can go to quick production entry. What we're going to do is for the schedule date, we're doing the next day. So again, I'm going to grab the first, simply because I need to make sure to grab the next job that's on that list. There we go. All right, again, printed date. We didn't print it out, so I'm going to blank that out. And then like so. And then again, we're going to be looking for the Y one. So again, if you're doing multiple pushes and you want to do it so you just do them all in one shot, this is pretty much how you do it. If you're doing multiple pushes and you're coming back between each set of pushes, again, you can just do it as normal where you pull the invoices, post-production, pull invoices, and so on and so forth. But to keep in mind, it's going to build the schedule date out for the next day. But that's okay. That's okay. So again, we're going to go ahead and grab all the information. We're going to hit Get Invoices, and there's those 4 people we posted, including the one that I'm actually looking at. There's those 4 people. We're going to tell it to build journal. Yes, we're going to launch a production journal. There's that list of people there. Again, make sure everything looks good. Post, cancel, yes. All right, now if we go back to this customer, push F5 to refresh. My keyboard will do it. There we go. You'll see now the done date's 9:30 and it builds out the next one. But you'll notice the next schedule date is the same date. All right. So now we're going to do our last push, our third push for the day. We're going to come back in here. We're going to go again, go to data, quick production entry. We're going to grab everyone. Again, we can go ahead and now keep this to 1010. Keep that blank. Keep that Y. Hit get invoices. There's those 4 people again. Build a journal out. Yes, we're going to go production screen. Yes, we're going to post. No, we're going to cancel. And then we're going to hit yes, and boom. There's those 3 pushes that we did for today. When you go to pull your work for the next day, you're going to go to Invoices. Again, you're going to do day since last service 0. Hit Get Invoices. You'll take a look, and where is she? There she is right there. There's a customer, again, because it's pulling this line right there. So like I was saying, for the snow removal, the quick production entry can be your friend as long as you're careful, because here's the thing, is when you pull quick production entry for something like give me a second here. Quick production. There we go. If we pull quick production entry and we sell both Y's and $signs, and we're not careful with the dates and everything like that, when we hit get invoices, we could possibly pull work we don't mean to post production on because the driver hasn't returned. So you got to make sure that when you do quick production entry, you're only check marking the ones that you know have been taken care of before popping them over to that production screen. But then once you put them in the production screen, post production. And again, like I said, you can keep going back, wash, rinse, repeat at how many ever pushes you did. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad. You only do 1 or 2 pushes a day, and, or 1 or 2 pushes, every so often or whatever, because Mother Nature decides to be a little bit nicer with our with all the snow. All right, so again, once you post production, now again, you'll see if we pull up this customer's account, we go on the customer screen right here, there's those 3 services. Now, as far as billing is concerned, again, usually with snow removal, it's a monthly invoice where you're sending them out something once a month. You can send them out statements if you want, but like I said, monthly invoice tends to work for most people. So in order to generate a monthly invoice, you're going to go to Print, Invoices, Monthly Invoices. Under monthly invoices, you're going to go ahead and set your criteria. Again, you can do it for individual account number. You can go through and do things like print continuous service message, credit card panel, all that stuff. We're not going to go into too much detail, but down here we're going to select the date range of the service we did. So again, if you're doing them once a week, even though it says monthly invoice, you can do it as often as you want. If you want to do it once a week, you can go through and select the week that you're working on. There we go. All right, there we go. So again, this is the week we did those pushes. So again, some of these might be on, today, some of them might be tomorrow, some might be on Saturday. Again, we're going to take all the jobs that were performed between these dates here and throw them in the monthly invoice. So again, once you have our criteria set, we can go ahead and set for preview. Get invoices. There's those people that we just did the work on. Do preview. You'll see there are those snow removals that we performed. And again, you can send your customer a bill that looks like this. They tear off the bottom portion. They go ahead and send the $150 payment in. Like I said, you can do it for the week. You can do it for every 2 weeks. How often you want to do those monthly invoices, you can generate them. Because what's going to happen is when you actually print out that monthly invoice, if we can take a look here at that first job, hit the little magnifying glass, see there's no invoice number. When we actually print out that monthly invoice, I grab that person right there. Okay. Print. And again, I'm going to go ahead and do a fake print on this one. Microsoft XPS Document Writer, and then I'm going to call it Junk Monthly Invoice. The Unvoice. I don't know if you guys ever remember the Uncola 7-Up. Yeah, I remember that. Man, I'm just aged myself. Invoice. There we go. So again, I'm just going to do it as Junk Monthly Invoice. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and print that out. Now, when I hit Get Invoices, you'll see that person does not show up anymore. If I do an F5 or if I close and then reopen the screens to refresh the screen, you'll now see that job has an invoice number. In fact, those 3 jobs all have the same invoice number because that's the invoice. And the reason for that is because when you go to do monthly invoices, it's going to look at the job, it's going to see what billing type it is, and it has to be statement only when you post production, and then it's going to see if it has an invoice number yet. If it already has an invoice number, it's not going to put that service on the monthly invoice. And because this customer currently doesn't have any invoices that meet that criteria, that's why we don't even see her on the list. So if I come in here, I'm going to go ahead and do a real quick cheat. I'm going to go ahead and post this directly into production. I'm not going to worry about pulling any work or anything. I actually think I have mine set to go ahead. You guys should not have yours set to go ahead, but I think I have mine set to go ahead. And go ahead and select, and again, put my information, save, post, cancel. Yes, there we go. And again, now if I go and tell it to do the date range and make sure that I got the date that I just posted, hit get invoices, you'll see she shows back up. But if I look at her monthly invoice, there we go, do a preview, you will see it only shows that one snow removal because those other 3 have already been invoiced. So like I said, again, as far as billing is concerned, most people tend to use these monthly invoices. And again, it doesn't mean you can only do them once a month. You can do them as often as you want, but keep in mind it's only going to show services that do not have an invoice number yet. So we're at 25 minutes, so I hope this video does help. Again, this is how you would set up the snow removal. Like I said, the one mistake I did, as I did set the snow removal for the 2015 season, again, when you would set up the snow removal, you'd actually set up for the next season, or I'm sorry, the next service year, so that way it can schedule past December 31st, 2015. Other than that, I hope this video helps, and you guys have yourself a wonderful, wonderful winter.